to the class once again. In the previous class, we discussed about the forms of government, and within that we discussed unitary form of government and federal form of government. So today the last part of the forms of government we are going to complete it, and here we will be discussing about parliamentary and presidential form of government. Parliamentary and the presidential form of government. This is the last part. So this parliamentary and presidential form of government will be discussing with reference to UK as well as USA. But whenever we discuss about UK, it is very simple for us to understand with reference to India as well, because India also has a parliamentary form of government. So let's start with what is parliamentary form of government. So parliamentary form of government has two parts. The parliamentary form of government is a system in which the executive has two parts, that is nominal executive and the real executive. The executive in the parliamentary form of government has two parts, nominal and the real executive. Nominal executive is the constitutional as well as just for namesake who does not possess real powers, and nominal executive is not responsible to the parliament or accountable to the parliament. Whereas real executive, who is the head of the country, executive head of the country, elected directly by the people of the country, they are responsible to the parliament as well as to the country as a whole. They are accountable to the parliament as well. So nominal executive in our country is the president, and prime minister is the real executive in our country. In Britain, in UK, nominal executive, British monarch is the nominal executive, and the Prime Minister of Britain is the real executive of Britain or United Kingdom. So let us discuss the important features of parliamentary form of government, and side by side we will try to relate with United Kingdom parliamentary features. So the first important salient features of a parliamentary form of government is differences between nominal and real executive. Differences between nominal and real executive. So in a parliamentary form of government, the executive has two parts once again. First one is the nominal executive, second one is the real executive. So all the executive powers are vested on him, that is the head of the state, but does not exercise this power. He exercises the executive power vested on the nominal head only on the advice of Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers. Though in a parliamentary form of government, the country is run in the name of the nominal head. But in real sense, the power lies in the hand of Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers. So nominal head is just for namesake. He is been entrusted with lots and lots of powers, but that power he can use only on the advice of Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers. That is, the real executive advises the nominal executive to utilize those powers. Now, the next important feature of a parliamentary form of government is structure of the real executive. The structure of the real executive is will within the will. So let me tell you what is the will within the will. So this is a small circle. So here lies the Prime Minister. So this is the outer circle of the inner core circle. So here will be the kitchen cabinet. Zoom. Kitchen cabinet. Then the outer circle is the cabinet ministers. And this is the outer circle, Council of Ministers. So once again, let me tell you, will with the will, the inner will. Here lies the Prime Minister. outer circle is the very close ministers, those who form the kitchen cabinet, very close to the Prime Minister, and the other second circle is the cabinet ministers, those who also hold important portfolios, and the outer circle is the Council of Ministers as a whole. All the categories of ministers comes under the Council of Ministers. So this is the wheel within the wheel. There is a wheel within the wheel. So this is all about the second important feature of parliamentary form of government. So kitchen cabinet, then again cabinet, then again the Council of Ministers. So this is all about the second important one. Now the third important feature of a parliamentary form of government is there is a very close relation. There is a very close relationship between the legislature and the executive. There is a very close relationship between the legislature and the executive. Now let me tell you why it is so. Because there is not at all a separation of power which is there in the presidential form of government, that is in USA. So here in a parliamentary form of government there should be a good relation in order to continue the work of the government. So legislature, executive. So one very important thing I would like to tell you, the executives are born out of legislature. So first of all, in order to become the executive Prime Minister or the Council of Ministers, you need to be the member of the legislature first. Suppose in Britain, that is British House of Commons, the lower house. First of all, you have to be elected. You need to get elected to the House of Commons. So whichever party is in majority in the House of Commons, they form the government, and the government chooses the Prime Minister as well as the Council of Ministers. So Prime Minister is the executive who is born out of legislature. So there should be a very good relation between the legislature and the executive. A very friendly and cordial relation should be there between legislature and executive, because the leader of the majority party of the legislature forms the government and the others, they sit in the oppositions. So ministers who are chosen by the Prime Ministers are responsible and accountable to the Prime Minister individually, and collectively they are accountable to the Parliament as a whole. And these ministers are given different various departments to look after. So now let us discuss about the ministerial responsibility. Ministerial responsibility. In a parliamentary form of government, Prime Minister is there and Council of Ministers are there, and these ministers are also given various ministries to look after, and to what extent they are responsible and to whom they are responsible. Are they responsible to the Parliament or are they responsible to the Prime Minister? That we need to discuss it. So individual ministers, they are responsible to the Prime Minister individually, because Prime Minister has made them the minister. So the in ministry which they are allotted, so they are accountable and responsible regarding their ministry to the Prime Minister, and collectively as a whole, all the ministers collectively are responsible to the British House of Commons or the Lok Sabha in our country. They are accountable to the Parliament as a whole. So this is the individual and collective responsibility of the ministers. So individually the ministers are responsible to the Prime Minister because they are chosen by them, head of the state. They are responsible to the head of the state, and then other ministers as a whole, collectively they are responsible to the legislature. So collectively we can say that the ministers, the Council of Ministers sink and swim together. Council of Ministers sink and swim together. So if a vote of confidence is passed against the Prime Minister, the government will dissolve. The whole ministry has to resign. In the same way, we can say that individual ministers, if they don't work properly, then they may be removed by the Prime Minister. Then somebody else will be given in that place. But he cannot disobey the Prime Minister, because the undisputed right to allocate portfolios is in the hand of the Prime Minister. Nobody can say no to his decisions. So that is all. Now next one we have is there is no fixed tenure. There is no fixed tenure of the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers, or we can say that there is no fixed tenure of the real executive. Suppose, for example, once elected, the normal term of the executive is 5 years, somewhere 4 years. In India, we have 5 years. So 5 years. So before the completion of the term, also they can be removed, or a vote of no confidence, if it is passed against the government, then the government has to resign. So there is no fixed tenure of the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers, or there is no fixed tenure of the real executives. They can remain in office until the pleasure, till the pleasure of the president. If the president is happy, that means constitutional term. If the president thinks that the government is in full majority, they can continue. If the government is not in majority, then the president will dissolve the government. So Council of Ministers remain in office so long as it enjoys the confidence of the majority. Majority means numbers. Numbers should be there, more than half. 545 is the member in our parliament, so more than half will be 274. Whichever party, whichever government, in order to form the government, they need to have 274 seats. If there is one seat also less, then definitely the government has to go. Next one, in a parliamentary form of government, Prime Minister is the head of the government. In a parliamentary form of government, Prime Minister is the head of the government, who is all in all powerful. The leader of the majority party form the government, and the leader of the majority party is the Prime Minister, who is appointed by the President. And definitely his office is very, very powerful. So the head of the state always acts according to the advice of the Prime Minister. So I told you, head of the state. President is the head of the state in our country, and in Britain, British monarch is the head of the state, who has to work according to the advice of the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers. So who is powerful? The real executive is powerful. Next one, very strong position of the Prime Minister. Very, very strong position of the Prime Minister. Now, you know that Prime Minister is the real center of power. And as a head of the government, he exercises lots and lots of power. All the real executive powers are in the hand of the Prime Minister. Council of Ministers works under his leadership. Council of Ministers works under his leadership. He presides over the meetings of the cabinet. All the meetings whichever are held, cabinet meetings which are held, is presided over by the Prime Minister. All the decisions taken in the cabinet requires the individual approval of the Prime Minister, because without the approval of the Prime Minister, the decision cannot be taken. So unanimous decision with the approval of the Prime Minister is must in the cabinet meeting. Then the last one is Prime Minister can get the, in a parliamentary system, Prime Minister can get the Parliament dissolved, or we can say legislature dissolved. So that is there. If the ministers are not working according to his wishes, then definitely he can dissolve the Parliament. Or if the government is in minority, definitely that time President will dissolve it. But here the cabinet, in actual practice, the Prime Minister has a right to advise the head of the state in favor of the dissolution of the legislature. He may definitely, if he is not happy or he wants extra time to prepare for the next election, then he can ask the President. He can ask the President to get the legislature dissolved. That is possible. So next one, the last one is political homogeneity and the secrecy of office. Political homogeneity and the secrecy of the office. Now what is this? Very, very simple. Normally the member of the Council of Ministers, all the members of the Council of Ministers, they are from the single party, they follow the single ideology, they believe in single ideology, they follow the ideologies of the party as a whole, the commitment is single, and the program of the party as a mandate has to be followed by them all together. So homogeneity means unity among the party members, unity among the members. Yes means yes, no means no. There cannot be differences of opinion within the single party, because if I am a member of a party means I respect and obey and believe in the ideology of that party. If I don't like, if I'm not happy, so I should not be a member of that. So once you are the member of the party means you have to believe, you have to follow the ideology of the party, believe in the decisions taken by the head of the states. Next one is secrecy of office. All the important decisions, meetings whichever are held has to be kept secret. The party meetings which are held secretly need to be kept secrecy. Secrecy is to be maintained. It doesn't mean that whatever is going on in the meeting, you come out and talk to the people, let the people know, talk with your family members, and family members will disclose it in the public. It's not like that. Yes, definitely in a democracy, what is been decided by the Prime Minister, Council of Ministers, definitely that will come out in the public domain through a proper channel. The party spokespersons are there, whom the party has authorized to talk in favor, talk from the party side. They are the one responsible to discuss or disclose the policies of the government in the press, and press to the people. So secret body, cabinet is a secret body. We need to, whatever is decided in the cabinet meeting, it doesn't mean that then and there you go and speak it out. It's not possible. So you have to maintain secrecy. The authorized person, the person authorized by the Prime Minister or a party to whom they have authorized, they come out and they speak out when they are asked to do so. So secrecy need to be maintained. So this is all about the important features of the parliamentary form of government. Now let us discuss about the same thing with reference to UK. With reference to UK. Now, parliamentary government in United Kingdom, the basic principle and features which we have discussed as a features of the parliamentary form of government, is that applicable here in UK or not? It's very, very simple. All those are applicable. So now, first important features with reference to UK is that the Westminster model. The British parliamentary government or a cabinet system of Britain is also known as Westminster model. Westminster is a seat of the British Parliament. The name has been given to the parliamentary system because the cabinet is constituted by the member of the majority party in the parliament, that is the House of Commons. So this is the Westminster model. The seat is in Westminster. Now, as we discussed in the salient features of the parliamentary government, that two types of executives, the nominal executive and the real executive, it is similar over here. In Britain also, monarch is the nominal executive and Prime Minister is a real executive. The country is run in the name of the British monarch and the real power lies in the hand of the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers. Now next one, organizational wheel within the wheel. So wheel within the wheel again is there in the parliamentary form of government in Britain. Wheel within the wheel. Prime Minister is there, kitchen cabinet is there, then again cabinet is there, all ministers outside is there, then Council of Ministers as a whole. Now there is a close relationship between the cabinet and the British Parliament. It needs to be, because Prime Minister always belongs to the House of Commons. Prime Minister of Britain always belongs to the House of Commons. All other ministers must also be the member of either the House of Commons or the House of Lords. But the Prime Minister must belong to the British House of Commons. That is there. In case a person who is not a member in case a person who is not a member of the parliament is made a minister, he is to become a member of either house within a fixed period, similar to our country. If a person is made the minister, he need to be a member of either house, British House of Commons or the British House of Lords, within a stipulated time. So this is about a Prime Minister who is always a person from the British House of Commons. So most of the important decisions are taken by the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers, and similar to our country, money bills are introduced in the British House of Commons, that we all know it. So there is always a very good relationship between the Prime Minister, cabinet who is headed by the Prime Minister. So cabinet and the Parliament, there is a very good relation. So this gives the ministers a representative and a responsible character. So altogether we can understand that if a vote of no confidence is passed, so then the government has to resign. So in a parliamentary government, that is very, very important. If a government does not follow the constitutional norms, or if their government is in minority, the vote of confidence passed, then the government has to resign. That is the ministers responsible for anything which goes wrong, not the king or the monarch who is held responsible for this. So the ministers are responsible for all actions of the king. So simple. The next one, individual responsibility of the ministers. Each minister is individually responsible for his conduct as well as for activities of department under his charge. Simple. The department which is given to me, I am responsible for that. Whatever mistake or things which goes wrong, I will be responsible for that. The ministry which is given to an individual minister must be responsible for that particular ministry. So individually they are the ones accountable to the Prime Minister. So next one, the same thing again. So my dear students, if you get a question like explain the salient features of the parliamentary form of government with reference to UK, and you have studied only the features of the parliamentary system, that will also work. So salient features of the parliamentary government is applicable to all the parliamentary system in the world as a whole. So there should not be a confusion. The salient feature is different and the parliamentary feature of UK is different. It is not. It is same. The next one, again, leadership and the strong position of the Prime Minister of UK. So as I told you that Prime Minister in a parliamentary form of government holds a very, very important position. So is in the case of British House of Commons also. There the Prime Minister is very, very powerful. The Prime Minister of Britain is very, very powerful. He holds the most important position in the United Kingdom. All the administrative roles are in his hand. King always acts on his advice. The choice of the minister is his power. Okay, whom to make the minister, who is going to be the minister, ministries are to be given to the members. All these are decided by the Prime Minister. All the portfolios whichever are distributed on the will of the Prime Minister, or we can say that Prime Minister has that undisputed right to allocate portfolios. And whenever cabinet meetings are conducted in Britain, that is Prime Minister presides over the meeting. Secrecy office, similar to that. All the important decisions, meetings, policies which are discussed in the cabinet meetings are to be kept secretly. There should not be any leak. We can say that any decisions should not be leaked out. So party representatives are there. They are authorized by the government. They come and speak in front of the people. So ministers, they have to take an oath of secrecy, that will maintain secrecy of the party and the government. So this is all about from the prime ministerial form of government. Prime ministerial form of government. Welcome back to the class once again. Now the next topic we'll be discussing over here is presidential form of government. Presidential form of government. The chart is given over there. Presidential form of government is over here. Okay, now presidential form of government. First of all, what is mean by presidential form of government? So, when there is a separation of power between the legislature and executive, and in which executive is not responsible or accountable to the legislature, and this type of system is known as presidential form of system or presidential form of government. So here executive is not responsible to the legislature. So in the previous section we discussed there is a very good relation between the legislature and executive, but here legislature and executive has no close relations. Legislature is not responsible to executive and executive is not responsible to legislature. That I will discuss you in detail. Now let me tell you, in a parliamentary system election take place and the party which comes in majority forms the government. Okay, but in a presidential form of government, election takes place. There are two houses in the British. There are two houses in the US Parliament, which is also known as that means US Congress. The US Parliament is also known as US Congress. Two houses. House of Representatives is there and the Senate is there. House of Representatives is the lower house, which consists of 435 members elected directly by the members of the that means people of the 50 states. And Senate is the upper house. The members to the Senate are elected indirectly by the people of the 50 states, indirectly. So altogether 100 members are there in the Senate. Now I'm trying to make you understand the relation, why it is so different from the parliamentary system. House of Representative, the term of the House of Representative has 2 years term. The House of Representative term is 2 years. Every 2 years elections are conducted. Whereas the Senate has a permanent term. That means we can say that Senate is a continuing house, like the house which we have in our country, Rajya Sabha. Senate is a continuous body, or we can say Senate cannot be dissolved. So why there is no relation? So where is the government form? Then who is the executive? From where the executive is born out? So let me tell you, the president of USA is elected separately. The president of USA is elected separately by a presidential electoral college. The name of the body is PEC, Presidential Electoral College, which is formed every after 4 years. Once they elect the president, the presidential electoral college gets dissolved. So it is not of a permanent term. So here the House of Representatives and the Senate, they have nothing to do in the election of the president. Though as an individual voter from their constituency, they can elect the member of PEC. That much they can do. So the executive, that is the president, is elected by a PEC, which has nothing to do with the House of Representatives and the Senate. So the president is elected separately. Okay, president is elected separately. So this is the difference as compared to parliamentary and presidential form of government. So there is no close relationship between the legislature and the executive in the presidential form of government. That is why actually, what is presidential form of government? Presidential form of government is a system in which the executive is not responsible or accountable to the legislature. Whereas in a parliamentary form of government, Prime Minister is responsible and accountable to the Parliament. So here they are not accountable. So now President, in a USA, in a presidential form of government, there is only one executive. There is one executive who holds both the powers of the executive. He is the nominal as well as the real executive head of the country. The President of America is the nominal as well as the real executive head of the country. Nominal, constitutional head. Real, because he is elected directly by the PEC, or we can say indirectly by the people of the country. So executive, he is very, very powerful, and he along with his cabinet. Now the cabinets, that means the ministers to whom we call as a consular minister, they are not elected, they are appointed by the president. Whoever are capable and eligible and president thinks that I need the work of that particular person in my ministry, he appoints them. The person can be from any party, that is something different. So they are termed as presidential secretaries. That means the ministers to whom president appoints, they are known as presidential secretaries. In our country, in a parliamentary system, we call them as council of ministers. Here in a presidential system in USA, we call them as presidential secretaries. They are the one to aid and advise the president as a whole. If they don't work properly, if the appointed secretaries, they don't work according to the wishes of the president, then he or she will be removed. He will be removed from the cabinet. Okay, so this is all about this separation of power between legislature and executive, which we have already discussed. President has nothing to do with the legislature, and the legislature has nothing to do with the executive. So president is the executive, legislature, House of Representatives and the Senate, they are there. So definitely whenever any bills are to be passed, the whole legislation process takes place in the US House of Congress. So there the presence of a president is not at all possible. He is not a member of the parliament. So if he wants any of the bill to be passed in his favor, then definitely he can take the help of his friends, who all are the senators. So the question comes over here: does the executive has full freedom, or we can say that the executive is completely free to do whatever they like, whatever he likes in America? Is there no control over the executive? So there is always a checks and balance. The term is checks and balance. The president definitely is controlled by the legislature, because he cannot go against the constitution. So if he does anything wrong, if he is found to be against the constitution, or treason, or any anti-nation activities, then definitely he is to be removed. And the process through which the president of America is removed is similar to the process which the president of India is removed. That is termed as impeachment. Recently, you might have heard about the impeachment process of Donald Trump. So impeachment process. So that is there. And next one is there. He cannot declare war without the approval of the US Congress. So definitely there is a checks and balance on both the sides. Legislature has control over the executive, and executive also has control over the legislature. That is known as checks and balance. So both the houses, both the legislature and executive are checked by each other. Now there is a fixed tenure. There is a fixed tenure in a presidential form of government. So America, the president has a term of 4 years. In America, the presidential term is 4 years. So after 4 years, election to the president is conducted. That is, presidential electoral college is constituted, and they, on behalf of the people, they vote to the presidential candidate. So term is 4 years. So you can go for a second term also. Before this, Donald Trump, Obama was there, Barack Obama was there. He completed, I think, 1 term or 2 term. Okay. The next one we have is there cannot be a president who can hold the office for more than 2 terms. Not possible, because it is not at all in the constitution. It is not mentioned in the constitution. Okay. So now few more topics are left regarding the salient features of the presidential form of government. So let me tell you once again the fixed tenure of the President of America, 4 years. But before that also he or she can be removed to the process of impeachment. So a slight difference is there regarding the impeachment of the President of America and the President of India. In the Indian system, in the Indian parliamentary system, impeachment process, though it is there, both the houses, they have the right to go with the impeachment motion. If Rajya Sabha imposes allegation, Lok Sabha will investigate. If Lok Sabha imposes allegation, Rajya Sabha will investigate. That is there. But here in US, according to US Constitution, to frame charges over the President is the power of the House of Representatives. The House of Representatives only can frame charges, and it will be investigated. It will be investigated only by the only by the Senate. The Senate only has the right to investigate the charges framed over the President of America. That is there. Now next one, the cabinet works. You know that I told you cabinet. I told you about the cabinet which is formed by the President. Cabinet works as an advisory body of the President. The President is there. President has appointed the ministers, those who are known as presidential secretaries, and they are to advise the President in the legal matters. Whenever President requires their help, definitely they must be there. So definitely many secretaries are there, like foreign ministers are there, defense secretaries are there, foreign ministers are there, foreign secretaries are there, for defense ministers are there, which is known as the defense secretaries are there. So like in India, we have number of ministers. In the same way, those ministries are given to the presidential secretaries appointed by the President. So in our country, the member of the parliament who form the government, and the government head of the government, the prime minister, allocates the ministries to the member of the government. But here, the President, he appoints the ministers, and they are given the ministries who are held responsible for that ministries. The last one, responsibility of the cabinet members to the President. So definitely, cabinet secretaries, the cabinet ministers are responsible to the President. If they don't work properly, they will be removed. They are given the assignments. They are assigned with certain duties and responsibilities, and if they fail, then definitely they will be removed. They will be removed from the office. So it is completely in the hands of the President of America to appoint and remove the presidential secretaries. And the last one is political homogeneity is not a rule over here. Political homogeneity is not a rule over here, so which is there in the parliamentary system, but it is not at all there. So all these things we discussed with reference to USA. The President of USA is the most powerful person in the world, we say. So definitely he is very, very powerful. He is the one who holds the executive powers of the that means America, and USA is run according to the wishes of the President of America. So parliamentary system is also a democratic system. Presidential system is also a democratic system. So America is the oldest democracy, and India is also a democracy. So both the countries are democratic countries. The only difference is that we have opted for parliamentary form of government, and America has opted for presidential form of government. Presidential form of government. We have a written constitution as well. We have a written constitution, and US constitution is also a written constitution. So almost similar. All the important features of the parliamentary and presidential is somewhat similar, but there are differences which we have discussed today. Okay. So this is how we have come to the end of this chapter. We have completed this chapter as a whole. So from this chapter you have to do only 4 things. Number 1, what is meant by parliamentary form of government? What are the important features of parliamentary form of government? And Next one, what is mean a presidential form of government and the features of the presidential form of government. You will be asked to answer the features of parliamentary as well as presidential with reference to UK and USA respectively. So the notes for this chapter is given in the description box. You please download it from there. The download link is given in the description of this video. Please download it and copy it in your notebooks. So in the next class we'll come and we'll discuss some other chapters. So let me tell you in detail. I'm going to show you something before that. So please zoom it. This part, forms of government, totalitarian, authoritarian, liberal, democratic state, features of unitary, federal, and the meaning and features of parliamentary and presidential form of government. This part we have completed. Now see, all this part comprised of 3 chapters, 1, 2, and 3. So we have completed the forms of government. This part also we have completed. This chapter number 2 is also completed. Chapter number 3 is also completed. So we have completed these 3 topics. So please, you complete your work. I have already given you the notes from this chapter, and you can, if you have not got it, then please check the download link from the previous videos and do it in your copies. So for this much for today. We'll meet again in the next class. So till then, take care, stay safe, bye bye.